Perfect. Thank you so much, Deanna. Hopefully everyone can see me. Can everyone see my screen? You can just nod your head or, yeah, there we go. Thank you so much for, there it is. Well, definitely, this is a great opportunity to, host this presentation for you guys as well. The partnership that we have with Academic Advancement Center, it's awesome. Bringing the Canvas family and bringing this partnership. Also, being a former CSU alum myself, it's always good to, give back here and give this information to you guys, because I understand that next journey in life after college. It's interesting. It's a weird amusement park when you think of it. The roller coasters are very wild, but hey, this is the great time to take advantage of this opportunity here and, really dive deep into this information that's going to be given to you. So once again, my name is George Hill, Director of Financial Education for Canvas Credit Union. I did go to Colorado State from 2003 to 2007, so a long time ago. A little bit about me. Let me get my screen if it's working here. There it is. My family that keeps me going here. My wife is also an alumni of Colorado State. She's from Greeley, Colorado, bless her heart. I'm originally from Southern California. We have three kids, a 16-year-old, Alexis, my son here, Zedekiah, he's 4, and my daughter, Zipporah, and then my two lovely dogs, Dax and Daisy. They're the only two that listen to me in the household, but, that's just how dogs are. I always love to start my presentation with a quote from Bob, because he's a genius. The only move that matters is the next one you make. It's really true, because it's simple. The decisions you make after college, it affects you everywhere you go, especially financial decision. Having student loans is part of your life financially. So really understanding that and making real smart decisions on how I can really manage that payment or manage other payments. So let's dive in. This is the perfect world, for real. I love that song, Happy, because, when you're applying for a student loan, that process and that feeling is, you're excited, you get the award letter, you get that decision, you attend the school, Colorado State, you get the degree, the job, and then you start making that paid payment on the loan. It's all exciting stuff. And then it's like, wow, like, does that all really fall into place? And it's like, well, statistics show just last year, and we all saw what last year was. Last year was a roller coaster for everyone. That student debt is 1.57, we'll just say $1.5 trillion. That's insane to say, the amount of debt around student debt is. More half American students now borrow to pay towards through college. So when you think of borrowing, it's just not the student loans. There's other stuff that you're borrowing. Credit cards out there. I don't know how many of us have credit cards or needed a loan for a new laptop or wanted a loan for a new car or just had a interesting spending habit. Debt, it all adds up while we're in college. So, really understanding what that percentage is just last year, it's a huge number. And statistics shows in just 3 years from now, we'll be in the 2 trillion range. So really understanding, like, wow, do I want to be a part of that? And, it's just really trying to understand, how do I not be a part of that, George? So this is the beauty of what I love doing, is really, giving you a guide, giving you a financial playbook, a good understanding of what you can take after college to really help better your financial future, help better understand your student loans and how to really make, the right decisions when making these student loans, because there's a lot of information that's out there. There's a lot of help out there as well, but let's dive into it. Tips on managing your student loans and debt. So creating a budget, it's highly important. I highly recommend creating a budget. And what I mean by that, you'll be able to see exactly how much you'll be able to pay when they start asking for their first payment. So really creating that, understanding, like, man, can I make that first payment? I did a presentation last year around savings and budgeting and creating a budget. And a student told me that they're going to start having to make their first payment when they graduate. And that just was eye-opening to me, because I know some of those payments are up there, when it comes to making your first payment. So really create a budget, understand how much you owe overall. By knowing the total debt can develop a plan. That's the biggest thing, is creating a plan to help guide you to make these decisions, especially these payments, especially these loan payments. All these loan payments add up pretty high. So having a visualization of what you see on a piece of sheet, what you have there, of how much this payment's going to be. Can I afford that payment? Can I cut back on this? Is only going to help you in the long run. understanding the terms, there's a lot of information around these student loans and a lot of small print, really understanding the loans out there. Each loan has a different interest rate, understanding those rates, understanding the different repayment rules that are out there. There's payback when there's 6 months and 6 months after college, you can start repaying. There's ones like paying right after college or 9 months. You got to really understand what you're getting into and understanding that language of when that first payment comes, are you ready for it? Review. That grace period. All loans have a grace period, but all grace periods are totally different. So really understanding what that grace period here. I have some examples for you. Like I said in the beginning, you have 6 months. Some give you 9 months. I think some will give you until you have, a full guaranteed job. So you really got to dive into, that grace period information, that loan information, really break that down to see exactly, hey, am I really going to have to start paying this payment right after college, or do I have a cushion to start making this payment? Consolidation. So it would be a perfect world to consolidate or refinance your student loan. That would be awesome if you can do that. But when they kind of talk about consolidating is, when I talk back to in the very beginning of all the other debts that came in, credit card debt you probably have, other loans outside of your student loans, is consolidating those. Because by consolidating those into one payment, looking into, okay, wow, instead of me paying $300 a month for all of these other loans I have, I can consolidate them and only making $150, and now I can utilize that extra $150 towards my student loan payment, right? So it's things like that where you can consolidate to help you out. It's tough to try to figure out how to consolidate your student loan or refinance that student loan, but you think about all the other debts that are outside of that, that you've probably added on during school. Think about consolidating those. That can really, really help you down the long run. As we move more and more into the presentations, do I have any questions so far?
I'll have monitor the chat, George, but I'm not seeing anything in the chat.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Because I have like two different, like one through a community college in like a federal loan in a community college from Arizona, and then the rest of it's through CSU. And the only way I've actually been able to like see the balance of like the total of my student loans is like when I ran my credit. So I don't even and I know Great Lakes is like the one who I got the initial loan through. So I'm like, as far as like even knowing like what the payment plan is going to be, are you like, I don't even like, who am I reaching out to?
Yep. And I have resources that I can give to you at the end of the presentation. But if you think about it, the loans that you have, first step is, financial aid department with CSU, really asking them on, hey, this is what I have through you guys, or calling that loan through Arizona, like, hey, I need the contact number, but I have some student loan government assistant numbers that can answer that question right for you, because all these loans are federal, they're government, so they're able to pull that information up for you right away, no matter if it's from Pluto Loan Institution, things like that. So it's really that government side will be able to really assist you.
Okay, but the best like through CS, so going through the financial aid department at CSU then.
Yeah, they'll be able to pull information up around you, because financial aid, they have pretty much everyone's information of what's coming in. Because do you guys make your payments to them?
Oh, was that a question or?
Yeah, do you make who do you make your CSU payment to? Or you haven't even started making payments yet?
No, I graduate in May.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one thing that we can get. Like I said, I have these resources of institutions and websites that you can get in contact with.
Okay.
Any other questions? So when consolidating, one thing we looked into as well is really strategizing yourself. It's a process. It's we don't know if we're really having that guaranteed job or that guaranteed income when we leave school, but really an idea that you can look into with different rates. It's, for example, let's say you have you owe $300 monthly to student loans. often $100 with one payment for a 4% rate, another $100 to a 5% rate, 6% rate. And, it's a strategy. It's a game, and if you able to have an extra 50 laying around, extra $20 laying around to just apply, it's going to help you. Yeah, it might be small, but it's baby steps. Crawl before you walk. It's little things. By applying that extra $50 just to that 6% until it's paid off, now it's like, wow, I have an extra $150. Now apply that to the 5%. So it's just that snowball effect. It's just another example you can do when you're looking at the interest rate or paying down the loans the fastest. But it's also understanding, what's in my budget. Am I able to really make that extra payment? So it's really creating that budget, finding those extra funds out there, those wants and needs, getting rid of certain things that I don't have to do. But, as we move down to principal, it goes with also if there's an extra out there, am I able to make that extra payment to principal? Principal controls the interest here, but that's if you can. If the payment says, hey, make this $25 payment, just make the $25 payment. If you know that you can make a $50 payment, then make the 50, but don't stress yourself out. It's just, there's other options out there where you can really knock that payment down by just adding a $10, $15, $20 payment to just the principal only. So those are options as well of just strategizing yourself when it comes to these loans. Is the payment it's stuck. Here's a $200 payment that's for you every month. Oh, I can make an additional 50 towards the principal. So now that's actually knocking some years down for you on that student loan. So if you can, there's an option as well. Automatic payment, being in a digital world and just being, having the world that we live in, and we're always on the go. Automatic payment will save you a lot of time, stress. It'll give you that peace of mind knowing that payment is paid. One thing I try to stress on is trying to play that game is, can you set that automatic payment to pay that bill a day before? And it's just getting into exercising a muscle, it's a stressful thing, but it's just trying it, trying to see if I can make that payment before the payment is even due, because it's getting into a habit of really getting things set for you as you go, checking your financial statement here and seeing like, oh, wow, by me making that payment early that day, I was able to find an extra $75. Like, okay, well, can I apply that to another loan, or should I look at next month's budget? So it's automatic payments it's a wingman for you. It's really helping you behind the scenes. It's paying things when you forget. Things happen. You forget to make a payment, but hey, I remember setting that automatic payment. That's always going to happen for you. So looking at automatic payments that already have a set number is the easiest way to start, because bills do change. Cell phone bill might change, cable bill might change, but your student loan,
okay, I don't know if it's just
locked.
me, but you're cutting out really bad.
Oh,
is it just me?
Can you hear me better?
Yeah, we can hear. I can hear you, George. Can other folks let us know in the chat if folks are having a hard time?
I don't know.
Bless you. Did you hear that?
I'm gonna leave and come back. I don't know what else to do there.
No worries.
No, it seems to be working though. I don't know if that was just me or what, but okay.
You good?
I think so.
Okay. No worries. And then after automatic payment, this all can sound simple. It all sounds very, very, very easy to do. The automatic payment, the applying an extra payment to principal, trying to figure that out, strategizing different interest rates, really playing the rate game and adding an extra payment to that to do the snowball effect, looking into consolidation. Consolidation, you got to apply, you got to take that extra step. There comes a time where if you do go and apply, it's the financial institutions want information. They want to know your finance history. Are you able to pay things on time? So that's a big thing as well when you look into consolidating, is making sure that you're making your payments on time while you're in school now. Because like you said before, Ms. Lopez, that you saw those balances based off of your credit that you pulled, right? So did you hear that part? So it's things like that where, okay, knowing, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, just what you're saying, because like I honestly didn't even think about paying, like trying to pay anything off while I was in school, because obviously until someone said something to me this semester, and it's my last semester, of course, but I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, yeah, because that like loan amount is a lot less by the time you're done, and then the interest and like all of that. And I wish I'd known that.
That's why I'm here for you. And you know, that's the thing is, it's wild how not knowing, like it's like I said in the very beginning, we're excited, we got our loan, we got our letter, we're attending, and it's like, okay, now I'm graduating in May. It's like, oh, whoa, what is this here? What is this payment? Like, whoa, what do you mean I got you? So it's things like that. So it's there's help out there. It's just, you know, you got to take that next step. You know, it's crazy, you know, but here, this information here it'll definitely help you. It'll definitely give you the peace of mind of really knowing a direction to go, because it's coming. I get it. I understand, right? That graduation day, it's exciting, but then this stuff comes. But there's ways. We're here to help you on that. Reviewing, that's a hard thing as well. It's diving in, looking to this grace period. So where I'm going with all this is really these extra steps that you got to do to really understand. And I get it. We wasn't expecting that, but by taking these extra steps is only going to give you that peace of mind, help you better understand exactly how much I do need to pay. Like that's the biggest thing, because if not, then there's options out there where you can explore. You know, that's the thing as well, is there are options out there, but then you also got to apply that information and tell your story around why you are applying for this assistance here. You know, and you know, if you think about it, it's like, I don't know if anyone on the call is getting that guaranteed job when they graduate, or have a job lined up when they graduate. You know, it's things like that. It's like, you know, after 2020, it's like, wow, like I don't even know where to apply at. No one's even hiring. So it's, how am I going to pay this? And I don't even know if I got a job yet. So it's things like that where there are other options out there that can assist, but it's applying that information, looking into it and diving into it, because these other options out there, you know, it's, for example, when you do an extended repayment, yeah, it extends the time for you on the loan, but you still got to pay that back, you know, and think about it. They extend the loan, that extends the interest. So it's, oh man, like, okay, now you're adding even more money on top of what I brought to. It's like, man, I started with a $20,000 loan. Now I'm at $50,000 because I just extended it. So it's looking into that, and also repayment or monthly payments, where there's options out there where they will look into your income. You know, it's, like I said, you don't know if you're getting that guaranteed job. You might start off with an entry level job, and there are ways where they can, okay, based off of your job, we can give you let's say you're making $1,000 a month, and based off of your lifestyle, we can make a payment of $35 for you. But if time grows, let's say you're getting paid more, they're going to adjust that because it's locked in, it's fixed. Or they just look at your salary and say, hey, take it out here. You can make that decision. So there's options, but you got to also look into what's going to benefit you. That's the biggest thing, is what's benefiting you when it comes to this. The last one, you know, it's rare. It's, you know, pay as you earn. And this is during, you know, financial hardships. And I look at 2020, like that was a hardship for a lot of people financially. And it's tough. It's still tough to apply this information when you're trying to look into this alternative route as well, because there's tons of questions thrown at you when it comes to this one here. You know, they really want to see statements, financial statements, like what hardship were you really in? But it's an option. The most common one, deferred payments. This is the most common one that everyone goes with. You know, we don't know if we're going to have that guaranteed job, like I said. So reaching out to your lender, who's qualified, federal student loans. You know, the federal government will pay the interest during the approval deferment period. So that's once again looking into how long is that deferment period. What does that look like? People that don't qualify, there's an option as well. They can temporarily stop paying on the loan. You can temporarily stop paying on your loan for a certain period of time, but once again, interest occurs. That's the biggest thing, is these options are beneficial in the beginning, but you got to also understand behind the scenes, there's stuff adding up for you. So looking into these options are beneficial at that time because you just don't know, but they also add on principal and interest to the principal.
George, can I add something to the deferment?
Yeah.
For folks who are thinking about doing graduate school or engaging with AmeriCorps, you can put, I think it's deferred, where you don't have to pay your loans when you're doing either or. So if you're in AmeriCorps, so if you're doing any of that service, or if you're going to graduate school, that also allows you to do that. But like George said, right, like you have to look at if your loans are subsidized or unsubsidized, because you have to know if your interest is building while it's deferred. For the subsidized, they're not, right? And so
Yep.
Just working with your loan provider. So I know someone was talking about Great Lakes as one of those loan providers, right? You just have to connect with the loan provider through your login information with that website to defer that information. They might have like an application that you have to submit, or you just have to call and they might ask for information about like what graduate school you're going to, and like they might ask for more information, things like that.
Okay, so yeah, because through Great Lakes, I mean, it's a relatively small loan as compared to like through CSU, but I have deferred it multiple times. So does that mean that, what, I don't know what that, I don't know. So now I'm confused about what that means, because I just thought that it was an accumulating interest, but maybe it is, or they're paying the interest, or like.
So it really depends on, you know, how they structured the loan.
Okay.
That's the thing you just got to look into. It's, yeah, that's
I know it's
the
subsidized, but that's about all I
Okay.
know. So.
Okay. And I know the
yeah,
hardest part, you know, I know the hardest part is, you know, calling and waiting on hold. I get that. That's a stressful thing, and being transferred to millions of different people that's that you're just trying to get an answer from, you know, but it's taking that extra step and just trying to really figure this out for you. You know, that's going to be the easiest thing. I know it's a tough thing, but I know there's, like I said, these resources that I have at the end. There's, like I said, we're in a digital world now. You'll be able to pop someone up on a chat. Like there's people now that are able to do a Zoom call with you nowadays. So they're trying to work around that, because this is a huge thing. You know, like I said in the beginning, you know, almost $2 trillion worth of student debt. You know, this is a huge thing. So it's being watched here. Yeah. Any other questions? And then another option you have is loan forgiveness. You know, loan forgiveness, you know, the process of applying, submitting an application. A lot of people, not a lot of people, but you're eligible for loan forgiveness, cancellation, or discharge of your student loans. This one here is just, let's say CSU says, hey, we don't want to be a institution anymore. Well, they'll wipe away that loan for you on that one. So that's a good thing, but that's rare to hear from an institution saying, hey, we don't want to be an institution anymore here for you. But forgiveness, you know, loan forgiveness is, you know, it's the best kind of loan debt relief. It's hard to come by, you know, it's an application, you know, you got to put that time in. You got to really show exactly why they need to, you know, handle this here. You know, it's a process, but it's income-driven payment plans and public service loan forgiveness. What that is anybody that's employed, let's say you get a job after you graduate, or you have a job now while you're in school, federally, state, local, or tribal government, or a nonprofit organization, you're able to apply for this, and they'll look into forgiving your student loans. So it's a process. I'm not saying it'll get approved, but there's an option there, you know, for you. A key note that you need to know too is, with this loan forgiveness option, tax purposes apply. So I don't want to dive too much into that. You know, I have a whole different presentation around that, but that's something as well, that any loan forgiveness, you know, from the government that they see is tax. So they got to see exactly how it's a big one. And I don't want to scare anyone on that, but that's just a thing that you want to know in the back of your head. Like if I go that route, like, okay, I need to talk to a tax advisor as well. So it's, and also, like I said, I have another presentation around that. But really understanding the differences, you know, the forgiveness and forbearance they sound similar, but they're different. You know, it's totally different. You don't want to definitely get the two. You don't want to put the two together. They're totally separate from each other. But any questions around the options?
Okay, I can't hear you again.
Oh man.
I don't
What,
know.
what was the last
time
part
you
you
like stopped
heard?
for a second and I feel like it came back. I hate to keep interrupting. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Can you hear me now?
You're just like cutting in and out. I don't know if it's just me.
Caitlin, you might have to
Yeah.
turn your video off if like your internet bandwidth isn't like strong enough. I'll put it in the chat.
Maybe it's fixed. I don't know.
No worries.
Okay, yeah, I can hear you again. I don't know. For some reason, it seemed like stopping for a second. I don't know. Okay,
What
thank
was the
you.
last?
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. What was the last part you heard?
Oh, I don't remember now.
Where I am at questions around other options that you have around, forgiveness, or any questions that you have on other benefits around defer or exploring other options. I am getting to the resource part for you, where I have resources that you can look into. Like I said, financial aid department that you have at CSU. The great ones I like looking into are the studentloans.gov, nsldsed.gov. These websites, and they really give you in-depth information around, questions that you have, questions that probably I couldn't even answer, but they can definitely transfer you to the right people you need to get the right answers for. But to answer your question, Ms. Lopez, around the loans, the Arizona loan, your best route would be to get a hold of someone with a voice, not a robot, but someone on the phone that you can talk to, and really let them know, like, hey, this is graduating in May and I need to know some things here. But also taking advantage of these websites here that you can really look into. I know greenpath.com, they're a great institution that we partner up with that gives you free information around in-depth student loans, as well as the studentloans.gov. So taking advantage of these opportunities, these websites, get the information for you. The Canvas branch in the Lori Student Center as well. We have the bankers there that can sit down and give you that one-on-one information, go through some things with you as well. Taking advantage of that. You can also reach out to me. I have my information there. Email me. Deanna has my information as well. Everyone in that department. But yeah, I want to open this up for anyone that has questions or want a little bit other information or direction with things.
George, I posted the link for the federal student aid link resource that you talked about.
Okay.
I think that that's a really great resource that a lot of students in the past have used to log in and track their federal loans to see how much
Right.
they initially took out. You can see who's your provider, like which loan provider is tied to your loans. You might have different ones. You can see the interest rate. So that is a good one. That's where a lot of folks do. Well, that's where folks do their FAFSA, but that's where all the federal loans are tracked. So if you haven't logged in to look at that, it could be a really good place to start. But I went ahead and added that in the chat for folks to take a look.
Appreciate it.
So I have a quick question. Is there like a timeline that it's, I guess, like feasible or more so better to pay off student loans because I know it affects like your credit score. So is it like affects? No, it doesn't affect it. Okay, well, all right.
So the thing with the student loan, you pay that off. It does. I don't want to say it affects it in a bad way. It's not going to bring it up. It's not going to bring it down. It just shows that you have a student loan on your credit report. But let's say, you are trying to purchase a home down the road, that does show a debt on there, right? So if creditors see that you are making positive payments towards that, they can structure ways where they don't, see that on there, but that's just the credit side. But that's not affecting your credit anyway, unless you are just not making that payment. that's where it will start affecting you. Like you're missing payments here. Like they're sending you letters. Like we know you applied for forgiveness in here and we did this and we denied here, but you're missing. So that there can definitely show a negative towards you.
Okay. Would you recommend like starting to either save up or start to pay loans right now? Like for those who are graduating soon?
If you can start. And it's all about comfort. You know, you don't want to put yourself in a bind like, oh my God, George said to pay this off before I graduate. No, like if you're comfortable to do that, by all means do it. And you got to also understand is what's comfortable for you, because you know, I don't know what your payment is, but you know, I know these student loans they get expensive. You know, they're up there, but the sooner the better, you know, because you start now, then you leave, that balance is lower now. So
yeah, thank you.
George, do you have any information on interest rates right now with COVID?
So I know studentloans.gov will give that out. I know interest rates dropped to about, I want to say in the high 2 ranges. But it varies, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on in the government right now. I know a lot of us probably heard of the whole getting rid of student loan debt. You know, that's something now, that's an interesting thing there too. So it's, you know, it's don't listen to the media out there on that, because the best way to believe that is when they really pull the trigger, you know, like, hey, yeah, I got rid of that. That's when you applaud, like, yes, thank you, God. they did that. But the best way is really, you know, searching around. And when I say search around, call around, don't apply, just call around. Like, hey, what student loans rate at, or things like that. But you can't really look into refinancing, you know, unless, you know, that's it. But if you're trying to go to get more schooling, yeah, rates are good right now for that. But
yeah, I would say that a lot of folks are just getting letters through their loan provider about what those interest rates look like now. A lot of them have 0 interest rates. So a lot of people are just trying to pay off the principal and they don't have more interest rates building their loans larger. So as long as you are logging into your not your Nelnet, sorry, that's my loan provider. As long as you are logging into your loan provider, like login, that's where you get messages, right? You might be getting letters, you might be getting an email saying like, hey, your loan provider is trying to send you a message. You want to look at those because they have the most accurate updates that are going to be applicable to you for especially changes like that with interest rates right now with COVID-19. So definitely create your login sooner than later so that you see where your loan is at right now before you graduate.
absolutely.
Well, I do have a question that's like unique to my situation, but I also, because you just mentioned it, I was curious, like what you might know about that loan forgiveness that they're talking about. Because like you said, don't just believe the media, and I'm not going to, but I was just curious because of what you do, if you have any information on that.
On the forgiveness, what our government is doing around the 50,000.
Yeah, well, I thought it was like I've seen a couple different things, so yeah, and I'm confused.
And that's the thing. It's this media. it's you know, that's the thing. Is you're gonna hear that. Like I said, it's if they do it, that's when you know it's legit, and that's an interesting thing. You know, I would to be honest with you, I would love for that. That would relieve a lot of stress for people. But that's a huge number when you think outside of what that is doing. You know, that's a totally different conversation. But I wouldn't really focus on that side. I would stick to, hey, studentloans.gov. Hey, this is Miss Lopez. Hey, I need you to pull this loan up and this up and like really break this down for me. And yeah, and if I need to help you create a budget, I'm here. I can help you create that too. You know, that's the thing. It's we're here for you at the Canvas side, but I wouldn't tie my head around what the government's doing around that. That's a lot of noise. It's an interesting thing, but these resources here can definitely, you know, guide you in the right direction. But if it happens, trust me, I'm rooting for you. Trust me, I am.
It's hard to know what to expect these days.
Hey, yep. But hey, you have full control. That's the thing. You have full control of what you want to expect. You know, you can control that.
Very true. Well, I do have
Any
one more
other-
question. I
Oh,
do.
yeah, keep
I do.
going.
Okay.
Keep
So,
going.
well, I mean, and obviously because you don't know the specifics like of of my particular loans, it could be like more of like a broad answer, but I'm kind of trying to figure out what exactly I'm gonna do. So, up until this point, the only loans I've taken out are subsidized, and I mean, I'll be open with it. I don't feel my debt is too much. It's like gonna probably be around $20,000 when I'm done. So I guess what I'm trying to consider right now is, and obviously I won't really know up until I'll know a little more when I get closer to graduating and if a job, like, you know, as far as like a job and everything like that. But I guess I'm considering taking out, because I have a decent size like unsubsidized loan and I've never touched them, but like right before I graduate, I'm considering like taking out a chunk of that, because I mean, obviously when it gets closer, if I have a job lined up, like, you know, I probably wouldn't take as much, but if that's not the case, and I'm just kind of worried about like, because it's unsubsidized, and I mean, you've helped in me realizing that like I need to get on top of this now and not wait until I graduate and just realize that I have a grace period and be behind on it. But
Love it.
I don't know. So I guess I'm just trying to figure out whether that's a good idea or not.
Yep. You know.
I know. I don't know.
Yep.
But because it's unsubsidized too, and as far as like the interest and all that, I'm just not like really familiar. So payments,
And
I don't
yeah,
know.
this would be great if we
I
could
can't hear
do
you again. Hold on.
oh, you can't hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? And that was a great question. Can you hear me? Deanne, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I think maybe something came up with Caitlin. If you want to just generally like, you can go ahead and like talk about it, George, and then we can just refer Caitlin to the recording.
Yeah. So, you know, man, I just wish I can see the numbers, because it ties back to the very beginning of what we talked about, of really understanding, you know, how much you can afford or pay. But you know, I just don't want to advise. You know, it's just really, it's a.
I'm sorry, but I can't hear anything you're saying.
Oh, I was just trying to answer the question you had around the subsidized loan. And I just want to. Did you say you had a chunk of, not a chunk, but you had money aside?
Me?
Did I hear that part?
No, not well, no, it's a loan that I can pull out. Like
Okay.
it's not really
Yeah.
yeah, so
What's
however you want to look at that.
what's your see, and that's the thing is, you know, what will be, if you use that money, you know, you want to understand like how much am I need to pay back on that? Because now it's like, are you utilizing that loan to put towards the student loan?
I
A
know,
little
which
bit
I
of
don't
it,
want to.
because that's
yeah.
two payments now, you know, that you
Yeah.
have. So it's tough. You gotta really dive into, okay, well, how much do I really owe here? You know, that's the thing. And creating that budget, I'm telling you that it'll help so much, because then you'll be able to see exactly if it's going to be beneficial for you. It might not. It might be beneficial to you to do that and have two payments. Maybe, but I don't know, because like you said, you don't know if you have that guaranteed job first or job yet.
Ideally, obviously,
Yeah, right.
but yeah, I don't. And I mean,
So,
yeah, when somebody was telling me this semester about like repaying, and that was literally my comment was like, I would just be taking my student loans to pay back those loans. So that's why I haven't done that. And I guess just because of the fact that one would be unsubsidized, and like I know that the interest is different on that, and there's no, I don't think there is any grace period. So I guess and it would, yeah, like I think if I pulled that out, that's what would put me around like 20,000. But I guess I'm just trying to, okay, so just figure out like as far as like what the payment plan would be and how with the loans that I already have.
Yep. Structure a payment, like see where the payments are at, you know, because like, you know, I don't want to say don't do it, you know, because
Yeah.
if it does help you and you're able to still feel comfortable making those two payments, because that's what tying my head around, like, oh man, you're just actually, you're making two payments now. Now you have two separate payments. But if it
Okay.
structures in the way that fits, that might work. It might, but you gotta create that budget first. You know, look at it as creating a fake budget of you pulling both of those loan, like that loan to pay that loan, and then look what the two payments look like and see if you can afford that. You know, like just an example, just giving yourself an example to yourself, like, okay, like, wow, this,
Okay.
so that just
And what I,
giving yourself an idea, because you just don't want to do it and it's like, oh wow, it feels good, and then the first payment comes like, oh no, I should have never did that. So
yeah, that makes
those things
sense.
happen.
Is there a way to kind of figure, I mean, obviously with the, if I haven't pulled out that unsubsidized loan, is there a way to kind of figure out what a payment plan would be and stuff like that? Or,
You know, you can ballpark number, you know, it's
okay.
using math.
Great. My
Like
strong
math,
point.
you know, carry the decimal 5 times. Yeah, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, you can on your own, you know, there's a site, Nerd Wallet. Nerd Wallet is a good site where you can like put in a loan amount, create a fake rate, and it will tell you what that payment will be. It'll like give you an example. So it's called
Okay.
Nerd Wallet. That's a good resource as well to look in. They also got great information around student loan stuff too, and resources. But I like Nerd Wallet because it gives you a good idea if you just, you know, fool around, like play Monopoly, put fake money on there, interest rate, here's my payment. Okay, it gives me a good idea, a good understanding where I should go.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Any other questions for George? I think that's it. If you all just want to make sure that, yes, like you capture this contact information, I think something great that George said was how can students utilize Campus Credit Union on campus as a resource? George spoke to folks being able to connect with folks from their office. You don't have to have an account, right, George?
Nope, you don't have to have an account. You know, you're already a student, so there's a relationship there. You know, it's you have me. You can reach out to me if you don't want to go on campus. I know we're a digital world. You know, here's my email information. Reach out to me. I don't mind giving you more information around this or really helping you structure certain a direction. But like I said, the partnership that we have with CSU, the Academic Advancement Center, it's huge. So it's a great resource to take advantage of, and the stuff that we're giving you guys.
Awesome. Thank you, George. And yes, it is a resource at the LSC, and now it's still like a remote resource for folks. So just make sure to utilize that. Thank you all for being here. And please go ahead and fill out that post evaluation. Thank you, Caitlin, for sharing your feedback. I did go ahead and fix those pieces. So the post evaluation should have accurate information now, and that's how we're going to give folks credit for the programs. Please email either of us with any questions regarding any of the information from here today. So thank you all for being here.
Should I still do the pre again?